Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to MMA Cannibal. Another video here, breaking down my matchups that I want to do after UFC Noche or Noche UFC. Keep getting that one mixed around, but pretty solid card overall. Definitely a few fights that I wasn't really looking all that much forward to that ended up delivering really well, and pretty much every fight that I was looking forward to delivered and then some. So pretty happy with the card for sure. Very entertaining all throughout. Had a few weird moments here and there, like with the Lacerda and Edgar Chairez guillotine. That should have honestly just been a Chairez guillotine, not a no contest, but whatever. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about some matchups. So, moving it straight into it. The women's flyweight title ended in a draw. Now, usually that means one thing and one thing only: immediate rematch. And I am perfectly good and up for that idea. I think that's probably what should happen realistically. Grasso won the first fight kind of flukily, and then the second fight became a draw, which at the end, whether you think it was a draw or whether you think Shevchenko won or whatever, I do think it was a very close fight that could warrant a trilogy either way. But given that, Shevchenko broke her thumb in this fight, and they've already had these two fights back to back, I don't know. Like, I watched MMA Guru's matchmaking video, and I definitely like where he was at in terms of, like, if we have to wait like another 6-7 months for Shevchenko to heal, and then we can have a trilogy between these two. I'm perfectly fine with just waiting to do with like not doing this trilogy immediately next. I think we can all agree we're getting a little sick of all these immediate rematches. So while I do think a trilogy is right and what they should do, and I think it's a good fight still, and I don't mind it, I do think that if Shevchenko is going to have to recuperate her thumb and recover in the meanwhile, we can get like a new opponent for Grasso and even a new opponent for Shevchenko, assuming who wins that. So I think in the meanwhile, while Grasso's healing, we can do Grasso, or while Shevchenko's healing, we can do Grasso versus Fiorat. Now, why Fiorat instead of Blanchfield, you may ask? Well, I like this matchup a lot more in terms of for the fans. I do think it's a lot harder for Grasso. I do think it's a pretty hard matchup for Fiorat and Grasso, honestly. There's no real easy matchup for Grasso right now. But I think this is a good striker versus striker matchup. Grasso's shown to be pretty good, at least good enough to stand on the feet with Shevchenko and drop her. And Fiorat's clearly shown to be better than most in this division. And she just had that win over Namajunas. Not super emphatic, I get it, but neither was Blanchfield's win over Tyler Santos. And let's be honest, Rose Namajunas is a way better name than Tyler Santos, just on paper, if nothing else. So that's where I get this one from. I think Fiorat deserves it a little bit more. Also, Fiorat's much older than Erin Blanchfield, so I wouldn't mind giving her a title shot now, kind of seeing how it works. If nothing else, she's going to age out of the belt before anything else. So I don't mind it too much. And then on the flip side, we'll just have Shevchenko take on Blanchfield. Tyler Santos was able to do to Shevchenko what she did with her grappling, then Blanchfield should be able to do even better because Blanchfield did better than Santos in the grappling when they fought. She out-grappled her very well, and I think if Blanchfield can just do that again to Shevchenko, she'll win much more convincingly, especially in a 3-rounder where she can probably steal like 1 or 2 rounds by just laying praying if she has to. You know what I mean? I do think this is not necessarily the most exciting fight matchup, but because of this one, we are going to get Grasso Fiorat. And this is also only if we don't get the Shevchenko Grasso trilogy in a reasonable amount of time. If it's any longer than like 5 or 6 months, I don't really think I want to sit around and wait for it. You know what I mean? Moving on. Jack Della Maddalena won the co-main event. Great performance by JDM. I think a lot of people are kind of underhyping it or not really like giving him the credit he deserves, especially since it was a split decision, which makes absolutely no sense. I could see you giving Holland a round, but definitely not the whole fight, and for sure not 30-27. If anything, that was JDM 30-27. Just constantly, he hit Kevin with all the bigger shots, all the good combos. He had way better pressure and getting in close on that pocket. And I think we need to put him against another good brawler boxer kind of guy. It'll be another stellar, entertaining matchup. Probably end in a finish. It'll get him moved up the rankings, and I think it works pretty well with most of the other people's schedules at the moment. Vicente Luque. Luque, I know he had that bad brain bleed against Jeff Neal that he had, and I'm not looking to get this man more injuries, but you're in the welterweight division, dude. A lot of these fights are going to be hard. He came back and he had that fight against RDA, which was probably the biggest layup they could have given him for his comeback fight. That would have been reasonable for a guy like Luque, because I'm not taking a match between him and Magny seriously. So he had that comeback fight against RDA. I think a fight against JDM would be perfect for Luque, because it's still a good opponent, still definitely a good test that people will respect you for winning, but it's a little bit further down the rankings, so it's not quite like jumping back into the Shark Tank like you would otherwise. And for JDM, this is perfect, a step up in competition, a step up in the rankings, and just continues the natural progression of the division, really. Plus, are you acting like this wouldn't be an absolute barn burner? 5-round main event, 3-round co-main. I don't care where you put it. Give me this fight. Inject it into my bloodstream. Moving on. Big Mouth. Call Big Mouth. That was a disappointing performance by him. I'm not even going to lie. I was disappointed for sure. I thought he was going to be more active, a little more aggressive. He really didn't try to grapple at all, which I definitely thought, if anything, would be his best chance to victory in this fight. I had vivid images in my head of Holland snatching up a Darce choke on JDM at some point in this fight, or even maybe just getting a lucky TKO at some point. I'm not really sure. Obviously, I had JDM winning, but I definitely thought Holland had a better chance of winning than he seemed to show in the fight. I almost felt like he wasn't trying that hard, you know? A lot of times, like, even when he was having his success, it felt like he was just, like, kind of, like, enjoying the fact that was so much taller and longer, that it was, like, the shots he threw out were good and he was having success, but he didn't actually try that hard for them. Anyways, Holland bouncing back and forth with wins and losses like he always does. He just got a loss. Let's get him a win. He called out Neil Magny after the fight. I'm not, like, ecstatic to see it, you know what I mean? Especially since Magny's got the reputation that he does. But I think Holland can make it interesting. And if not, I think also this fight is most likely will just be another highlight reel sub or KO for Holland. So I think this is good. Bounce back Holland with a win. Whatever happens to Magny happens. But Holland can bounce back with a win and then maybe fight somebody like, I don't know, Michel Pereira at middleweight, or go back into welterweight, and I don't know. I don't even know. Sean Brady, if he loses a match or two. Raul Rosas Jr., this kid, wow. I mean, wow. I had him by a decision. I would never have expected him to hit Terrence Mitchell that hard. If you guys have seen that, like, screenshot of him where he's just, like, looks like he's going blasted backwards, like, holy crap. Terrence Mitchell, Rosas Jr. hit that boy hard as shit, and Terrence Mitchell couldn't eat it. Terrence Mitchell doesn't seem to know he's in the UFC with the way he throws his punches and tries to grapple and instigates encounters. So, good win for Rosas. Mitchell needs to hopefully fight somebody in the UFC that's not an up-and-coming prospect like Cameron Simon or Rosas Jr., and he might be able to survive past a round. And as for Rosas Jr., I mean, he's such in a fickle spot, because he could get like 7 wins in a row, and he would still be like, 19 years old? 20 years old by that point? Like, I would still be hesitant to start giving him people higher up. And it's such a problem with the bantamweight division, because it's such a Shark Tank that, like, you have like 3 or 4 or 5 fights you can get before you can. Not even like 5. It's probably like 3 or 4 fights you can get before people kind of start thinking like the Damon Blackshears and the Mario Bautistas and the Davy Grants of the division. You know, where it's just like, God, now you're just immediately being thrown like into really dangerous fights. Even if you don't want to call these guys killers, they're dangerous. You know, they're good. This bantamweight division is like low key stacked, even in the unrankings. So I really scoured the bantamweight the bantamweight like all the signees in the UFC, and I think I settled here on Ricky Tercios. I think this is a good matchup. Their physiques and frames look very similar. They have a decently similar record. Tercios is like 13-2 ish. Rosas is like 8-1 after this fight, I think, that he had this weekend. So this is good. Tercios is coming off of uh, being a Dana White Contender Series winner, I believe, or it's a tough winner. He's one of the two. Oh, crap. I knew it before I started recording, and now I totally forgot. But it was one of those two. So I think he shows definitely, like, because of that, because he was in tough or whatever, that it definitely shows he's a little bit of a step up in competition. He's got a little bit of a name to him because of it. So I think this is a good fight. Good little early on the main card, prelim headliner, depending on where you want to put him, kind of fight. Pretty winnable for Rosas, winnable for Tercios too, I would say. So let's do it. Unranked bantamweights. Roman Kopylov. He did what Kopylov does, man. I mean, oh my god, dude. The body shot TKO was intense. The leg kicks right out the gate were nasty. I mean, what more is there to say? We either need to get this guy ranked if he's not going to be automatically given 15 after that last fight. And if he's not going to be automatically given 15, then let's get him Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis, ranked number 14. This would be a great fight. Great striking matchup. Curtis broke a rib or something not too long ago. So when he gets all healed up from that, Kopylov will be good to go again from this fight, I assume, and we can get this thing going. This is like prelim headliner gold right here. Prelim headliner gold. Hell, do a main event in a fight night in an Apex if you want to. I don't really care. This one will probably be good enough. It'd be worth that, you know? Especially if Chris Curtis is showing up. Sean Strickland's probably somewhere in the crowd. So if we throw it in the Apex, we can hear him call Kopylov a bitch or something. And the last fight I want to match up, Tracy Cortez. She came out in that fight, and honestly, I was amazed. I could not believe how good her boxing looked. For not just for her specifically, but also just for like women's MMA in general. Like, it looked really crisp, really clean, good power, good timing on all of those strikes. Nice straight punches. Nothing like that was. She wasn't like getting caught in these looping hook wars and stuff. And she, bit of a dogfight for sure. Jasmine Jasudavicius seemed like she kind of just stopped throwing a little bit towards the end, or like kind of forgot how to take a takedown. You know, it was weird. Like Jasudavicius really didn't have as many attempts towards grappling in this fight as I thought she would, let alone the success. That being said, she matched Cortez pretty well tit for tat on the feet, but that's only really that impressive because I didn't expect Cortez to come out looking as good as she did, which almost kind of makes it look worse because Jasmine didn't really look like she had the same kind of technique and power and timing that Cortez was using. She just kind of was like going tit for tat with her randomly, which didn't show the greatest on Cortez, but she won. She did win. I do want to say that as well. I do think she won rounds 1 and 3. 230-27 scorecards is absolutely insane, though. Absolutely insane. The judges on this card tonight were just absolutely idiotic. You know what I mean? Like, I've never seen. They're so scattered, so all over the place. 10-8 to Grasso in the 5th round. 230-27s for Cortez, where there was like 30-24s in the very first fight of the night. I mean, just, oh my God, you know? Ridiculous. But whatever. Cortez, I do feel like she legitimately won that. She needs to step up. If she's going to be taking this long between fights, I'm going to stop caring. But let's hope she stays more active, and I want to get her a fight against Amanda Ribas next. Ribas is coming off some losses, but she's still like right there at that number 10, number 9 spot in the rankings. And I think it's a pretty good fight for Tracy Cortez. A lot of fan service, so I know everyone's going to really enjoy this one. Wait a second, guys. Sorry about that. But yeah, this would be definitely a good grappling match as well, I think. I think Ribas will be a good test for Cortez's jiu-jitsu and wrestling game. I do feel like Cortez might be able to out-wrestle Ribas, but if it gets to the ground, Cortez is going to be in a lot of trouble. And after seeing her last fight, though, I feel like if Cortez can keep it standing with her wrestling, she might box the head off Ribas. She really might. And I'd be really curious to see it because of the way these style matchups go in women's MMA. So I think that's really good. Otherwise, I'd do like maybe Casey O'Neill or something. But this is the fight that I want to see. And thanks for watching, you guys. That was my matchups for NocheUFC. I'll be coming out with another video later this week. And thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you guys think these fights would go. If there's somebody else you'd rather see these people fight after these fights on the weekend. And peace.